You've made it to the home of Blerd on the Street, where three black women talk about their geeky interests, nerdy pursuits, and current events. If you like our show, please leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Special thanks to NPR Girl and Phaedra220 who've already left us reviews. You can always find us on Instagram at Blerd on the Street and Twitter at Blerd Street. Now, on to the show. Hi, I'm Lillie, and I run on flat whites and raspberry scones. You can find me on Twitter at AliseOnLife. That's ALISEONLIFE.
Hi, I'm Jillian. A matcha latte and my Nintendo Switch are never far from my reach. You can find me at jillian.corinne on Instagram.
Hi, my name is Jenna, and I think coffee, books, and makeup are life. You can follow me on Instagram at PhillyGirlJL or on TikTok at PhillyGirlJLH.
Right. So you've left the hospital. You didn't really get to see anything at the abduction site. So you could choose to go back, or you could try something else. Peter, before he passed out, just kept repeating
Driver.
driver.
We should interrogate, what's her name? Forgive me. Karima or Leslie.
Okay.
Why did he say driver? What does that mean?
Right. So he was talking to Karima when he said that. Leslie's still back with you two. So yeah, if you wanted to, I mean, they're right there with you. They came, they helped you get Peter to the hospital. So if you wanted to try to waylay them as you're all leaving the hospital, that's cool too.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We're leaving. What was that? What did he Rodler turns to Karima as they're exiting the hospital. What was that he was saying to you in the clearing? What did that mean? The driver. Why would he say that over and over again?
I don't really know. I just maybe he was just so delirious. I don't think it had anything to do with, and she's kind of stumbling around on her words. I don't think it had anything to do with him being abducted, to be honest.
Why would why would he, that his first words as soon as he's, quote unquote back from wherever, be driver. That has to mean something.
I mean, the thing is,
he left when he was riding a bike, so there was no driver, technically. So why would he say driver?
So the thing is that the reason why Peter was still riding a bike was because he's actually tried to take his driver's test a few times and has always failed. I don't think it had anything to do with him being abducted. I think he was just mumbling nonsense.
Why was he on that road in the first place? It's in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that I can't answer for you. I do not know the answer to that question.
Mm.
I mean, the only other thing I can think is that as a member of Psalm, he was maybe looking into some of the other two disappearances, but he wouldn't have investigated on his own. We really have a rule that everybody should do things at least in pairs.
Well, who was supposed to be his pair? The other half of his pair. Why did he even go alone if you guys had already agreed to do things in pairs?
And she looks really, really like deeply like hurt and um and also sad, like a bunch of different emotions flitter across her face. And she said, well, it was supposed to be me. I was his partner. We were supposed to do all our investigations together.
And where were you the night he disappeared?
Um, I was, wait, why are you asking me that?
Do you know how to drive?
Well, yes.
I feel like I have all these puzzle pieces, but I can't make them fit.
Does Rodler say that out loud?
Yeah.
And she's gonna give you a look, and she's like, well, obviously I know that you can drive.
But I wasn't here. And I have witnesses around me who can attest to that. Plus, I'm not from here. What reason would I have to abduct all these children?
Well, what reason would I have? They were all my friends. And I do have witnesses, she says, sort
So
of.
you're the link between them all.
That's preposterous. I don't have anything to do with.
What are you hiding? It's just kind of dark.
What's Rodler's last name again? I forgot.
Dalmore.
Dalmore. And so at this point, Leslie Anders like steps in. She had just been kind of like listening, and she's like, "Mr. Dalmore, how dare you?"
It seems like I'm the only one asking any questions around here. The police seem to be completely incompetent. You don't even have an ambulance service. We had to carry this man to the door of the emergency room, and nobody there had any urgency. Nobody knows how to do this job. All the other monster hunters are just running around with like their heads cut off. Why were we the only ones at the site? Nobody else was there? But, I am just going to keep my eye on you.
and um and she looks at you and she's like, this is Leslie Anders saying, well, we're gonna keep our eyes on you. Which, like,
sure. Go ahead, be my guest.
And then like Karima's like, come on, Leslie, let's just leave them. I don't know why you talk such good words about this Dr. Museon, but I don't like the company he keeps. And she's like, let's go back to the site and further investigate that crop circle or something. We got to figure this out. And maybe by the time Peter wakes up, we can tell him that we've solved the case. And she sort of pulls Leslie away, and like they stomp away to their car.
Well, they are highly suspicious. I feel like the members of this club know a lot more than they're telling us. Maybe they're all involved in the abductions.
I agree. She dodged just about every single one of my questions.
Yes. And she really seemed like she was just making stuff up on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know that they are quite possibly headed back to crash site or the not crash abduction site. But there is also what does retcon and say that Karima definitely mentioned that their Psalm club meets at the university in like one of the classrooms there, one of the lecture halls there.
All right.
So
I
you know
think-
where their meeting is.
I think we need to check out their meeting spot. Maybe there's some clues there.
All right, let's go.
All right. Yeah, so you get to the university. Again, this is a smaller community college. So there's only like 2 residence halls. And then there's a library. The like food hall is in the basement of where the library is located. And then there are 3 buildings that like one building has where most of the science classes are, like labs and that kind of stuff. One building is mostly like the liberal arts classes. There is a stadium and like sports building. And then there's like another building where there are smaller size lecture halls, like that only would be for, like 15 student class size.
Okay.
And that building is where the lecture hall is that Psalm meets.
Okay. Do we
Okay.
know the lecture hall number?
Yeah, like actually you don't know which specific room it is, but like each of the doors have like a sign on them that say whatever is there.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, here's where they meet. We walk up and approach one of the doors and try and open the door. Is it unlocked?
Yeah. I mean, the door's like kind of cracked open. You can hear a couple of voices coming from inside.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome. Even better.
All right. Well, instead, then I go up to the door and, turn my ear to it to see if I can hear what the people inside are talking about before trying to open it.
Okay. So there's 3 distinct voices. One of them is definitely Leslie Anders. And then there's one voice that's a little bit deeper than hers, and then another voice that is sounds more grown up than like a college student.
Can I hear what they're saying or just like murmurings?
I want you to make a roll for that.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Rolls.
Yes, rolls. Let me see. What do I want? What roll do I want you to make? I think this should be read a bad situation.
Okay. So what do I have any? All right, well, let me roll and then we can see.
Right. So read a bad situation is plus roll and then plus your sharp. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Thanks.
Advanced success.
I mean, the thing is that 12 is the highest you can roll just on
Nice.
the dice, right?
Nice.
Oh, right.
That's a 12, and that is advanced success, it says.
Okay.
So when you look around and read a bad situation, roll plus sharp. On a 10 plus, hold 3. So you have 3 hold.
Mhm.
And on a 7 and 9, hold 1. 1 hold can be spent to ask the keeper one of the following questions.
Mhm.
What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims? So I think we could probably, like, you tell me which, you get 3 questions. You tell me which 3 questions, and if they don't quite fit this situation, we'll just massage them to make it
All right. So
a good way.
what's my best way in?
Okay. So the door is cracked open enough that you can see inside. Somehow you are standing, because that's a 12. Somehow you are standing right at the exact angle that when you are looking in, no one can see you standing at the door, but
Okay.
you can see that there is another door to this classroom. And it's presumably at the back of the classroom. So it's possible, if you knew where, like, it's possible you could just go to the next classroom and enter through that door, and you would have the element of surprise and or be able to see what's going on, and they would have their backs to you.
Okay. What were the other questions? It was something about, is there any danger?
Yes. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Yeah, that's my second question.
Okay. So what I would say is that you heard these 3 voices. Leslie Anders is one of them. She's a known person to you, right? And there was another voice that was deeper, but was most likely still like an adolescent or college student
Okay.
sounding voice. And this is, are there any dangers we haven't noticed? I would say this person is not actually not likely highly dangerous, right? It's
Okay.
another college student and presumably another member of SOM who really up to this point hasn't obstructed you. Like Karima maybe doesn't like Dr. Museon that much, but they're not actively working against you.
Okay.
So any dangers we haven't noticed. So then there was one voice that sounded like an adult. And I would say that this person, you couldn't really tell if it was you couldn't really tell their gender, but this person is definitely an adult and they are I'm trying to see like what would it actually be that would be more like you noticing
Mm.
from this role, even like because you got a 12 though, so you should really get some information.
Mm-hmm.
um I would say they're an adult, and you know what, here's what I will give you. The though you don't know who the voice belongs to, you think it sounds familiar to you from one of the uh, interviews that was on the news, like one of the news clips or whatever. Um, and I think at some point, one of you, while you were listening to this news, like looked up and you saw the Chiron flash. Um, uh, Joseph Midland, um, and then university sponsor, um, suburban aliens and monster hunters. So
Okay.
he's like the grown up that has sponsored this club.
Okay. And then I get a third question.
Yep.
Can you read them to me again?
So the ones you haven't used are what's my best way out?
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims?
What's the biggest threat?
Okay. Um, the biggest threat is this Professor Midland.
Okay. All right. So I step back away from the door and whisper to Radler. Sorry. Um, there's another door we can try and slip in from where they won't see us. Let's go around the building and find that door. And so
Yeah,
we
Radler, are you up for that?
Yeah, I want to get to the bottom of this.
all right.
Okay.
So we go around, find the other door, and slip through. And we're standing.
You're
Actually,
like at the back of the classroom
right.
when you come in. Um, and there's like two big like cabinet type things that sort of stick out right next to the door. So the door opens outward toward where you are. So
Mhm.
you can actually be standing on the threshold and be these two cabinet things bracketing you. Unless somebody was directly looking at you, they wouldn't see you.
Okay.
Okay. Um. All right. So what I whisper to him, that man over there, and I point in the direction of Midland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he definitely has something to do with this. So we need to find out more information about him.
Yeah. Okay. Is that do we have like a gather information type role?
You do.
Okay. Should that be like a group role?
Well, usually, you know what? You can help if you
Okay.
want,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. I want
All
to
right,
have
so
help.
what do I roll for
So I
that?
would say you could both roll gather information, and I'll take the better of the two rolls. So this is investigate a mystery. Oh, actually, you know what? Sorry. So Rodler, you're taking the lead on this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you would roll investigate a mystery, which is plus sharp.
Plus.
And Dr. Museon, you were helping out. So
Is it
you
Okay.
roll
verified?
plus school.
Oh, I
There it is. Oh
failed.
no. Okay.
Okay.
Make success. Take
Okay.
it.
So actually I was, looking through the things, and if Jenna does help out, she rolls first and says like what it is, what's the action that she is taking to help out.
Okay.
And then if she fails, it's not really no harm, no foul. If she had succeeded, Jillian, you would have gotten a +1 on your roll.
Okay.
Okay. But so it could have been helpful if you were like one off from success. But
Oh
you
yeah. No.
but you do have, that's a mixed success. So um let's tell me what it is that you wanted to know from this role.
Well, so I mean, I know that he's dangerous. I just don't know dangerous in what sense and how dangerous. So
Okay.
I guess we were looking for to see like if he had anything to do with the abductions directly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like any evidence is what you're saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you look into this classroom, and it's a mixed success, so there will be a downside to this information, but I will give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When you look into this classroom, you realize that there are 5 people in this room, though you only heard 3 voices. And 2 of the people are like sort of sitting sideways on a table, so you can see their profile. And these 2 people are Melissa Brown and Derek Houston, the 2 other missing students.
Okay.
And then there's one blonde girl who you don't know at all. The sponsor, and Leslie Anders.
Last week, my daughter introduced us to her new girlfriend, a Neptunite. They're both coming over for Sunday dinner, and I wanted to surprise them by making a few Neptunite dishes. Just as I was about to panic, I remembered Other Worlds. What's Other Worlds, you ask? It's a site dedicated to unearthly recipes. I order the ingredients to be delivered all at otherworlds.ufo. The best part? If you're short on time, you can order fully cooked meals and have them delivered within 24 hours. Guaranteed. All our ingredients are sourced from Arawak Farms. Visit otherworlds.ufo for more information and order your unearthly delights today.
I noticed the two student and they've been in the news too, right? So we would recognize them.
Yeah, that's why you recognize them, because they were their faces were put up as like these two other students also went missing
Okay. All right. And
recently.
I'm like, I noticed the two students and I point at them and whisper, aren't those the other two missing students? Doesn't seem like they're missing to me.
Rodler's gonna go, yeah, what the hell is going on?
Are you gonna enter the room?
I want to roll. Is there a roll I can do to see if anyone is armed?
I guess I would call that read a bad situation.
Okay.
But if you succeed, I would just like let you, instead of the questions, if you succeed, you would just find out that information.
All right. Well, I'm going to roll for that. So that would be what kind of
Plus sharp, sorry. I guess I would call that read a bad situation.
Okay.
But if you succeed, I would just like let you, instead of the questions, if you succeed, you would just find out that information.
All right. Well, I'm going to roll for that. So that would be what kind of
Plus sharp, sorry.
Dang.
Jenna!
I'm sorry.
Should this be a group roll?
I mean, we don't. I rolled an 11, so.
Right. So,
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, yeah, we don't. I don't even need help.
I'm gonna say none of the college students are armed. You, even though this is a success, the Professor Midland has like a cloak on, so you can't really see. You can see he has nothing visible, but you
Okay.
can't see like what might be under the cloak.
All right. How far away is he standing from like anyone else?
He's standing at the front of the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then so if you picture how like a lecture hall, like even a smaller one, it's sort of set up a little bit like a movie theater with like that kind of stadium seating sort of situation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And this one has like 3 rows of like 7 chairs,
Okay.
And then there's a desk in the front. So a desk 10 feet from the actual front of the classroom where Midland is standing. And then the 2 missing students that you recognized, they're sitting on this desk. But then the blonde girl who you don't know, she's sitting in a seat in the front row. And Leslie Anders is kind of standing to the side, like halfway between the desk and the front row seats.
Okay. So, like, I really think they're all in cahoots, but I didn't want to advance forward if it was possible that Midland could do harm to any of them. But since he's a few feet away from everyone, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
like
feel like
there's 10 feet separating him from the closest student, two
right.
students.
So I feel like we're armed. So
Yeah, you have your stuff.
right. So I'm gonna say we should show ourselves and see what he does. Because I know that, we could probably intervene if he did try and harm someone.
Okay. I mean, they're actually talking now. Did you want to like try to first listen in and hear what they're talking about?
Yeah, let's see what else they
Yeah.
say.
Okay. So you can hear Leslie Anders saying, I told you not to choose Peter. I told you he's failed his driver's test. Like it wasn't even a good choice. And Professor Midland says, we need the drivers. I just thought because he trusted you that. And then Melissa Brown interrupts and is like, there's plenty of people who would do this voluntarily. All you have to do is say like alien looking for drivers, and people would show up out of the wood cracks or whatever that expression is.
Would work.
Would work.
I turn and look at Radler and I'm like, and I mouth, they need drivers? What is going on here?
What's going on here?
Do you just jump out and say that?
Yeah. No. Sure. Yeah. Why not? I like the interrogator today. Because I ask the questions here.
You can't handle the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah, are you still trying to be quiet after you've heard this conversation, or what's the sitch right now?
Well, I think the only way we're going to really find out what's happening is if we confront them. So I'm going to like casually walk around our little hiding spot and show myself. Are we above them? Like, is it stadium seating like tiered, or is it just like
There's where the 3 rows, they're on a tier from the desk and the front of the room, but those 3 rows themselves are all on the same tier.
and we're coming from the back behind the rows?
Yes.
Or, okay. All right, yeah. So I walk down the steps onto the, to, I guess, whoever's the closest to. And I say, what's going on here?
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to steal Jillian's line. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I like all of them startle because no one noticed you. Good job on your stealthing. They all startle, and it looks like the professor's like expression like ripples for like a minute, not a minute, for like 3 seconds. And then it sort of settles into, and Leslie Anders jumps up and she's like, what are you doing here? Doctor, what are you doing here?
I could do the same of you. I mean, I thought you were going back to the scene of the crime. But here you are here.
And she's just like stuttering, like she can't even say words. And then the Professor Midland like steps up and And he says, "This is none of your concern, Earthling."
Earthling? Okay. I actually say that. Earthling? Excuse me?
You are a being from Earth, am I correct?
You act like you aren't.
And then he's like, haven't you figured it out by now?
The aliens are real?
Well, yes, of course. We've always been real.
Why have you been abducting these kids? You actually look like you're in cahoots with them.
Abducting? And he laughs. And like everybody else in the room kind of laughs too. And then the person who you know is Derek Houston is like, we're volunteers.
Volunteer abductors?
We're not abducting ourselves. We're volunteers to go with the aliens.
Where are you going?
And Professor Midland is like, wouldn't you like to know? And then Leslie Anders is like, we still need 2 drivers. We could use the skills.
What is this driver stuff? What are you talking about?
And like all of the 5 people like looking around at each other, like silent communication sort of thing. And then the professor says, my ship crash landed here, and I need 7 drivers in order to take off and head back to my own planet. I've just been trying to find people who would be willing to drive my ship.
And disappear into the atmosphere?
There are many who seek adventure and would like to be the first to make contact with alien worlds and travel.
All right, look, you're not Doctor Who.
Who?
Exactly.
Look, I'm willing to accept that you may be from another civilization outside of this world, but are you really telling the truth to these people about driving? What happens when they get to your planet? Could they even breathe or live on it?
And he looks at you with like this look of like pity, like, we've mastered the art of atmosphere manipulation hundreds of years ago. It is you Earthlings who don't know how to take care of and use your resources for good.
Well, I can't deny that, but also these people are disappearing without telling their families or people who love them. I mean, you're basically stirring up this fervor with the police and everything, and people coming from all over. What do you do about that?
It was not my intention to ever make any of this fuss happen. That, unfortunately, was due to all the prevalence of the monster hunters like you.
Well, I think that if these people are volunteering to go, I can't stop them. But I really feel like this situation needs to be remedied so that the other people left behind, do not think that there have been this rash of abductions. I mean, where's your little flashy thing that you do into our eyes so we forget?
I have no need to take anyone's memories. We are not hiding. We just wish not to be invaded and colonized by Earthlings. There are
But
plenty of other planets and cultures who know about us. In fact, most of us don't want to be on Earth's radar.
well, look, we don't want you here either. So, how about that? I'm just
Then
saying that you have created this problem. You need to figure out how to solve it, because these people are not going to let this go.
No, that's right.
Radler finally speaking up.
All right, I was making tea in the back.
um, and then the alien is like, enough. And like that bright white light that that you saw being emitted from the tree when Peter Howland reappeared, that white light is now coming from the alien, and it blinds you, and you both well, it doesn't blind you. It's so bright that you have to close your eyes and look away. You both take 1 harm again.
Okay.
All right.
And you think we'd know by now.
And then when the light blinks out and clears, the 5 of them are gone from the classroom.
Has monster hunting got you down? Then you may need Hunter Help. Hunter Help provides access to fully licensed therapists across the United States. This is not a self-help group. These are therapists who can help you work through your problems and get you back to being the best person and monster hunter that you can be. Go to hunterhelp.com now for a free trial. That's hunterhelp.com.
So at this point, it's your choice whether you want to try to chase after the aliens. They've disappeared. He said he needed 7 drivers for to like lift off in his spaceship. Professor Midland to lift off in his spaceship, but he does have 5 people at this point. So
Also, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
What happened to the other 6 drivers that he crash landed with?
right, well, you don't know. Presumably that's probably why he crash landed, because he didn't have any pilots or drivers.
Oh, okay.
He's been trying to collect them in order to leave. So there's 5 people right now, and he said he needed 7, but they have all disappeared. One of them, your docent, which is another thing to.
Right. Oh no, now I have to hire someone new. Do you know how many resumes I had to go through just to find someone qualified?
to work at the Mutter Museum.
It's a much more difficult job than one would think.
Right. So they disappeared and probably presumably back to the spaceship, you know.
Oh, jeez.
So and you are in this classroom at the community college, which is a little ways away from the town center. Like you had to drive here.
Okay.
So you could, but it is only like a mile and a half from the abduction of Peter Howland happened. So you could go back to the abduction site. You could go into town and tell the police. You could go into town and get your luggage and go back to Philadelphia without telling anyone what happened. It is in your hands now what you decide to do.
Okay. Well, I am completely dissatisfied with what has happened. I thought we were monster hunting, and really it's just some nice old alien who has crash landed and needs to get back to his home. This is not a job that I am interested in pursuing. I am ready to just go back to the hotel room and pack up.
Yeah. Rodler too. I mean, there was like a reward here, but nobody's gonna really believe that they got abducted, or they didn't get abducted. I'm sorry. They willingly volunteered to help an alien go back to wherever he's from.
Right. I mean,
without any proof. I know, like, it's a type of world where people know, it's like some people know monsters exist, but nobody's, there's no proof really. They just poofed away. So I'm ready to go home too.
So you leave the community college and you go back to the hotel where there's that harried concierge.
Mm-hmm.
She like waves you over. Oh, wait. Come here. The sheriff was by earlier and he left you some. She hands you an envelope with both of your names on them. Rodler's name is on the top, and then Dr. Musean's name is near the bottom of the envelope in like smaller print.
I look at that and I'm like, he didn't even write them in alphabetical order.
Inside is like a letter and a bunch of 20s in cash that sort of falls out. And the letter says, "Dear Rodler Dalmore and Dr. Alexander Musean, thank you so much for trying to find the mysterious circumstances under which some of our citizens disappeared. This is not the full reward amount, but it is a small token of the town's appreciation for returning Peter Howland to us. I may not see you again. I'm going on an extended vacation, but once again, thank you." And then it's signed Sheriff of Bluebird. The closing credits, like you driving away down this road. You've driven away. And then the camera pans to the hospital and you see the sheriff and Peter Howland walking out of the hospital. And then you see like a light in the sky. That kind of beams down and gets brighter and brighter and envelopes them, and then they disappear. And then 2 seconds later, you see like this mysterious shape like fly across the moon. The end.
Yeah.
That,
Yay.
yay!
We did it.
Yeah, so that was supposed to be our spooky Halloween actual play run through of a Monster of the Week one shots. I decided to do something that was a little bit different because usually the monsters, the aliens, they're seen as the bad guys, as the villains, and here was just this lonely alien trying to get back home.
Thanks so much for GMing. This was great.
Thank you, thank you. I really like Monster of the Week. It's a really good RPG for
Mm-hmm.
doing like a lot of different spooky type of things. And again, its inspiration is TV shows like Buffy and Supernatural, but then also shows like Fringe and Firefly. So there's a wide range of one shots or campaigns that a GM could play with this RPG.
Thanks for listening to Blerd on the Street.